Hi guys, so in somewhat of a follow-up from Compassion for the Conned, I want to show you these two images from The Sun. Now, Best for Britain, I do recommend following them on Twitter. They went to The Sun, so you don't have to. These are two comments, and one of them I think is an article, the other is a comment, I believe, that was sent in by a reader. But this is just more insanity from Brexiteers. So I want to show you this. This is this is just amazing. Okay, it says here, everything will be confiscated, laughed Margin. Welcome to the Brexit, sir. Now this is in regards to a video that has gone viral of, I think they're not haulage employees or drivers. I think they're just members of the public who travelled from the UK into the Netherlands, and they had their sandwiches confiscated. Remember, this is because the UK is no longer a member of the EU. It's no longer a member of the Single Market or Customs Union. So to import, in a sense, products of animal origin, you need a veterinary certificate. And in order to get that, you need to go through bureaucratic channels. And I don't think people would do that just for a ham sandwich. So the sandwich was confiscated. So the comment goes on to say, no matter that the UK adheres to the same food safety standards as the EU. Okay, but this is not about food safety standards. This is about being a member of the EU, a member of the Single Market and Customs Union. No matter that the hauliers describe movement from non-EU countries such as Switzerland and Norway into the EU as a piece of cake. Okay, but this is something that is false. This is something that Brexiteers were trying to tell the public. Yes, okay, if you travel from the EU into Switzerland, it's a piece of cake. This is not true, and I do recommend following Kieran, the EU courier, and he has done many videos, and he has described on Twitter exactly how easy piece of cake it is to travel from the EU into Switzerland. But even if it were the case, Switzerland and Norway are special cases. The situation the UK is facing is different. Now, of course, Brexiteers are not interested in the reality. They prefer just to have World War II nostalgia imposed upon the situation. This is insane. And no matter that in the winter of 1945, when the Dutch people were starving under Nazi occupation in what they call their hunger winter, RAF Lancasters bravely flew low to drop food parcels in broad, deadly, flak-filled daylight. Okay. I'm not sure it was 1945, but I haven't checked, but that's irrelevant. I think it was 1944. But anyway, let's continue. What has World War II got to do with the UK not being a member of the European Union anymore? Now, the EU have said, look, we would prefer the UK to remain a member of the EU. There are certain benefits being a member of the EU. Your sandwiches will not be confiscated if you're a member of the EU. But the UK decided, no, we don't want that. We want to leave. We don't want anything more to do with the EU. We want to be an independent coastal state. To hell with you. Stop holding us in. We want to be free. Remember, the UK decided to leave, not the EU decided that the UK should leave. At every stage, the EU said, we would prefer you to stay. If you want to leave, we will respect that. Brexiteers, no, we want to go, we want to go, we want to go. And now the people are complaining. They're complaining that they're being treated as a third country. The Brexiteers wanted the UK to be a third country, and now Brexiteers are complaining that the UK is a third country. But don't worry, it gets worse. This is on the same thread. This is an article from The Sun. Oh my God. Okay. It says here, I can already imagine the scenes at Spanish holiday destinations as UK passport holders are ritually humiliated at immigration control. Now, what they're talking about here is when you arrive at the airport in an EU country, there's the EU gate, and then there is non-EU gate. Now, the non-EU gate is for people who are not members, for citizens who are not members of the EU. Now, this includes Americans, Chinese, Russians, South Africans, Algerians, wherever. The passport holders would be ritually humiliated, herded to one side as if they had jumped off the back of a leaky dinghy for the crime of holding a non-EU passport. Now, you can hear the dog whistle. I don't know if you can hear the dog whistle here. Basically, we're going to be treated like the way we treat people crossing the channel in a dinghy. No, you're not going to be treated like the way you treat people coming. Like, Brexiteers will not be treated in the way that they want immigrants to be treated. You'll be treated with the respect as any other non-EU citizen would be treated. If you arrive at the airport in Paris, for example, and you try to enter the EU gate, the passport check controller, whoever, the police officer, will say, no, I'm sorry, you have to go into the non-EU. You won't be herded, you won't be ritually humiliated. You'll be told, no, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong gate. You have to go in the other one. You have to go. I think this is the sort of racism. This is the Brexiteer racism. We don't want to be going with the brown people. We want to go in our own gate. We don't want to be going with the Africans and the Asians. We want to be in the EU gate, even though we're no longer a member of the EU. You notice the sort of subtle racism here. The dinghy and then non-EU. The crime of... What crime? Okay. Anyway, let's continue. And already British exporters trying to trade with the EU are being suffocated in post-Brexit customs checks. Now, I don't know how somebody could write this and not see the irony of what they're writing. Post-Brexit customs checks. There were no checks before because the UK was a member of the customs union single market. You decided to leave the customs union single market. Brexiteers were saying, we have to leave, we have to leave. If we leave, everything is going to be better. They lied to you. The European Union said on numerous occasions, continually through the process, if you leave the single market and customs union, you're going to have these issues. There's going to be paperwork. And what was the response from Brexiteers? What was the response from Jacob Rees-Mogg and Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage? Project Fear. This is all Project Fear. The EU need us more than we need them. And anyone who tells you the opposite is scaremongering and engaging in Project Fear. If there are checks at the border, of course not. We'll be able to be outside the customs union single market and have the same benefits as being in it. Now, just apply this logic, if you want to call it, to any other situation. Imagine you are a member of a tennis club or a member of a football club or anything like that. Can you be outside, not pay any membership fees, not be a member, and have the same privileges as somebody who is a member? Because if you can find a club where you can be not a member and have the same privileges as being a member, let me know, because I'd like to be part of that club as well. Brexiteers lied to people and said we can be outside the EU and have the same privileges as being a member of the EU. And they weren't able to respond by by giving examples or explaining how that would work. The response was basically, if anyone who disagrees with that, well, they're engaging in Project Fear. And they're Ramoners and they're pro-European sycophants or whatever. We got our fish back, okay, but now tons of seafood are rotting on the docks at Dover because of customs bottlenecks at EU borders. Once again, these people don't understand reality. You're no longer a member of the EU. You're a third country. When you become a third country, this bureaucracy needs to be completed. Otherwise, you won't be able to export your goods in the EU. Export it into the EU, sorry. What was... See, the problem here is that there is a type of British exceptionalism, I think, at play here. The idea that, we're not like Russia. We're not like the United States even. We're not like Algeria. We're better than those. So our products should be treated with respect. These are rules. The EU doesn't say, well, we like the Russians more, so we'll let their goods in faster than the Chinese, for example. Or we don't like people from Mongolia, but we do like people from, I don't know, Egypt, so we'll let them in faster. No, it doesn't work like that. They have rules, very strict rules, in order to protect their single market. I'm trying to understand what they're getting at here, but all it comes back to in my mind is exceptionalism. We're special. Treat us with respect because we're special. Anyway, it goes on to say, teething problems sniff government ministers, but it is far more serious than that. Our fishing industry is being strangled by EU red tape. Now, once again, the EU red tape did not exist less than a month ago. If it didn't exist less than a month ago, why does it exist now? I wish Brexiteers would ask themselves, why is there all this red tape now? What has changed? We're no longer a member, and there's now this red tape. Oh, so it's the EU's fault. The EU said, we don't want you to leave. We would prefer you to stay in the European Union. If you want to leave, that's your choice. But remember, there will be these consequences. And of course, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, Jacob Rees-Mogg said, no, it's all lies. It's all Project Fear. The EU are just trying to scare you into staying. We will be a free, independent nation. Will be able to trade with the EU on the same terms. Remember, they need us more than we need them. Scottish exporters are threatening to dump tons of rotten fish at the gates of Westminster as early as next week. At least they get the last part right. Scottish exporters are threatening to dump tons of rotten shellfish at the gates of Westminster. Because this is Westminster's fault. This is the government's fault. It's the government's fault for two reasons. First, they didn't prepare. The EU had said, if you leave, you'll have to prepare. The government said, we don't have to prepare because everything will be fine. They lied to people because they were afraid it would undermine Brexit. This was all about defending Brexit. If we tell people the truth, that there will be checks, if we tell people the truth that there will be delays, if we tell people the truth that they will not be able to, or it will be very difficult to sell fresh fish into the EU, they'll stop believing in Brexit. The myth will come crashing down. Reality will destroy it. So we have to maintain the myth for as long as possible. Now, I hope people going forward will look at this and see the people who lied to you were not the EU. The EU told the truth all the while. The Remainers said, look, there are going to be these problems. The people who lied to you, Boris Johnson, senior Brexiteers, other ones like Nigel Farage and David Davis and Jacob Rees-Mogg, they're the ones who lied to you. They're the ones who said there will be no problems. Everything will be hunky-dory. I'm afraid what's happening once again, and I've said this before, the Brexiteers will see the reality, and instead of looking at the people who lied to them and stop listening to them, they will continue to listen to the liars when the liars say it's the EU's fault. It's not our fault. Because if you disagree with me, that's fine, but apply that logic to any other situation. As I said before, can you be a member of a club? Can you not be a member of a club and have the same privileges as a member? Because if you can find such a club, let me know. I'd like to join. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?